Rather than the Basileans.
So the Basileans.
Basil fellas.
So there's certain things in this book that I look at and I think, why the fuck did they get a buff? So Elliot, why the fuck did Julius get a fucking buff?
Because Julius was underpowered and needed a buff. It's thematic. It fit with the Aloha. Julius didn't get a buff. The stuff that fights alongside Julius got a buff.
Armies with Julius get a buff.
Julius was going to be in every army anyway. so
you
Let's make it worse then. Yeah.
Don't know why Julius got a buff. Because he's an Aloha. It would have made no sense if the chief Aloha was worse than Aloha at inspiring people around him. It's a good enough reason. And everyone knows Julius is underpowered and never taken. Apart from all those times it's taken. So, should we start with the Aloha?
Except for every single Basilean list.
Basilian list ever.
Basalian.
Should we start with the Aloha and Julius buff then?
Yeah.
Apart from the Julius bit, do we like it?
Yeah, no, I like the idea of Aloha going to like a weird angelic fury version that can go to Crush 2 and less defense. Because most times you do that, it's not, if you've already got Crush 1, it's not worth the option.
Yeah.
But the Basileans, they can actually fucking use it because they've got Fearless 9 Resolve and Heal.
It's the Fearless for me that makes it worth it. Because it's probably worth it in a Horde, but it's definitely worth it in a Regiment. Because I think a Regiment of them Fearless 14 with, Defense 4 and Crush 2 is actually quite scary.
Yeah. No, they're a nice little combat support unit at that point, aren't they? 160 odd points.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Horde is fine. It's just that at that point you're in a lot of points for a slightly fragile Horde.
You can get one fairly easy. I mean, most of my lists aim to kill 17 units.
Yeah.
And I'm usually relying on some sort of Bane chance or something else to help get across the line. But if you don't need that, it's
and I think the Aloha regiments become even more attractive with the adding elite onto other units as well now. Yeah.
But it's only units with the human keyword.
Which is Knights and Sisters and Panther Chariots now.
I suppose it means that...
And probably Dragon.
And Dragon and Paladin Foot Guard.
But not Ogre.
Not Ogre Palace Guard. So that's basically it. It's everything except
Ogre Palace Guard
and Ogre Palace Guard.
Yeah.
And Naeus.
And Naeus. It's Naeus not a human keyword.
Is it a human keyword?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's basically everything but Ogre Palace Guard. Just to them, I think they make Aloha far more palatable now in both regiments and hordes.
And the regular.
And the regular.
Probably the main actual.
They've been regular for a year though. No one's changed massively to do with them.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I still probably wouldn't take hordes. I know John Quayle loves them and does very well with them. I just think
I certainly wouldn't take them with the lower defence.
No,
they're too fragile at that point.
I can see the worth in just piling in and going, this is a horde of Aloha with Crushing 2 and Sharpness on them and being like,
that is quite funny for the ultimate blender.
Yeah. What have you got?
I would take one of that. If you're having like another army of say like infantry or Ogre Palace Guard in front of it, and then just one of them just
it's
to
the
sit
kind of
there.
thing that you'll base your army around, help make sure it'll get there. Yeah. And because you've got Samacris and other silly bullshit, because you're the Basilean, you get to fucking do that,
Yeah. No, I think the Aloha buffs are nice. I don't think they go too far. It's not a vicious formation, which is nice.
Yeah.
It isn't a straight buff to Aloha, and it gives them something that's just different, which I quite like. One I do like is the Dictator. I think he went from absolutely worthless to now really quite shiny.
Yeah, I'd certainly see it as a really useful. I mean, just in general, it's D3. Well, I suppose it's Basileans. They've got access to all the heal.
Yeah.
So
and ready to life, and you have a potential quite easily of just wiping that off in one go.
Yeah.
And when you do, you then get a vicious dragon or vicious night horde. You really want something to be dead. and it goes quite well with the elite, you're not impressed?
No, I think it's shit.
Why?
Because it's still not fucking worth it. It's 90 points standard and he's just a guy running around on foot.
He's got, was it 3 attack, duelist, 4
4
attack?
crushing, 2 attacks. When he's 90 points and he's inspiring.
Yeah.
So
he's in that ballpark of, he's not far off like a Bane chanting Standard Bearer, but he can fight as well when you need him to.
Yeah.
He's not a duelist, so he's not.
I've seen a lot of arguments which I do kind of see in the going for multi-use characters, so having a decent-ish character with Bane Chant because it's defense 5, 12, 14, you're not breaking that easily, and if he needs to fight, he can do.
I suppose the only issue with him is that he's a fantastic unit, I think, that is kind of not needed so much in the Basilean army. Because they're getting elite in more places now in general. His inspiring isn't really needed as much.
Bane chant someone else and not have to worry about the damage. He makes more sense in a Brotherhood list where you got legions of villain penitents and you don't give a fuck about them getting hurt.
Yeah.
But then the actual problem is that every other character option is more attractive.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's always been the issue with.
The reason why it got a buff is because it was absolutely worthless and probably 20 points too expensive. And now it's just pretty worthless and kind of overcosted anyway. I appreciate the effort. Some people can be really happy with that because it's a cool idea for it's a cool archetype. It sucks.
I quite like it. I like it a lot more, as you say, in Brother Mark.
I like it. I don't think it sucks. It's cool. It's an awesome model.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it.
It's definitely one where the fact it's in this army
it's
does not help its arguments.
It makes a lot more sense in Brotherhood. Even then, the list that I've looked at in Brotherhood, Brother Mark, who cares? Everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, the theme list of the Basileans.
Yeah, even in those ones where I'm looking at, I don't take him because there's other options which do 2 jobs to synergize with the army better.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get a mount option because.
I in playtesting I saw a lot of people using with the wings, which I thought was too expensive at that stage.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as.
Because you're going to buy the 15-point upgrade, and then if you bought the wings as well, that's 60 points on a 90-point character.
Yeah.
2/3 of his points
back on.
on other things. No,
fair enough.
Not for me.
Sisterhood, are we more inspired by them? The infantry buffs?
No, because there's better stuff in Basileans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think, well, again, there are enough.
I feel like I'm being very negative now.
No, but I don't disagree. The Sisterhood infantry, here. If you want to play an infantry heavy list, that kind of thing, go to Brother Mark now.
Yeah.
Because the villains kind of do it better for a lot cheaper.
I think also just in general in Basileans, they're competing with a lot of really good choices. You've got Paladin Footguard that are only 5 points more if you want a decent infantry unit. And if you want...
Well, 15.1 now. Change price.
Oh.
Yeah, but...
I think they're alright.
No, they're fine.
They're alright, yeah.
My issue with these will always be, and it's the same with every army that's got Defense 5, Crush 2, Melee 3, Large Infantry, is just take Ogre Palace Guard.
The meta choice?
Well, the above meta choice, yeah. Just take Ogre Palace Guard, because they'll always do pretty much the same job.
Yeah.
They've got the same staying power, because the nerve makes up for the defense makes up for the nerve difference.
Yeah.
They're a lot killier, and they're a smaller footprint.
And Basilia have access to a lot of heal anyway. And heal is far more effective with things that take less damage.
Yeah.
So, bypass guard.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do like them. I think they're probably say 220. I think it's probably what you'd want for a horde. So I mean, they're in the ballpark, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's still something not quite right there.
The profile for me just sits in a strange place where I think Villains do it so much better because they're only one less melee, but they're a lot less points.
You can have the time when you're up against someone who's got 2 regiments of Glade Stalkers and in 2 turns
and it just
it's dead.
disappears. Yeah,
Fed Pass Guys wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, or if I had Villains, I won't care. Because they'd have died in the exact same
and then
amount of
they'd
turns.
been far cheaper, and they'd taken more shots because you just buy a Legion or whatever.
3 more hordes behind them joining in. So they're a unit that I think it's fine. It's in an okay place for its cost. It's just I could never see myself building a list where I'd fit them in. I'd just take.
I could see myself
building
a Sisterhood.
Or Ogre Palace Guard.
Because the models are...
Oh, well, that's it. Yeah, you have got the Gorilla.
Yeah.
I keep saying a lot of people, I won 2 boxes of those for free and still feel like I overpaid. Jokes on me, I built and painted them still. So
yeah, you've only got yourself to blame.
I think because of obviously they weren't competitive before, but now they're a choice that you could take and you won't feel too far put out.
No, if you wanted to build a theme list around it, you could do, and you wouldn't feel like you're absolutely shooting yourself in the foot. You'd only be grazing yourself in the foot.
That's funny because you're not having to bother with, because it's Basilean, you've got all the inspiring in the world.
Yeah.
Is that having them tagging with the Aloha, so you've got Elite Ambitious.
Yeah.
And you're crushing 2 Aloha, and you've got a nice little synergy running.
Well, there's nothing...
The Dictator doesn't work with them is kind of part of the issue.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if the Dictator did, but you can't, because you've already got Elite from one, you've got Vicious from another.
Yeah.
It's sort of just caught in a thing where neither of them really work on them unless you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're an interesting unit where they almost could have done with, and this wasn't really the scope of Clash of Kings, a sort of total redesign, either going stronger one way or the other, either being really cheap and more like the lanes, or being super elite and maybe even brushing into like that Berserker style melee 3 horde.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the minute they just sit in that middle ground of they're not good enough and not cheap enough.
Yeah, I mean obviously if they were elite and vicious, they'd effectively be that works out mathematically to being effectively melee 3, doesn't it?
Yeah,
for the most part. So they are only half of a to hit off of being like Kingsmen and Berserkers.
Yeah.
And you get loads more. Obviously, you get your Iron Resolve and you sat in Basileans, which you've got far more options for helping out.
Yeah. Formation.
I like it.
I don't mind it.
I think there's better ways of designing a formation than this, because it's 2 Gur Panthers which get Nafal. And are they chaff for the Sisterhood? Is that what they're supposed to be? Because if they are, then that's kind of pointless, because the Gur Panthers would chaff for Knights. So why would they be sat in front of the Panthers? In which case, what's the Fury for? The Fury's for themselves, actually. Or Naeus. Naeus is the only other thing that is beast in the bloody.
Which actually is quite cool that I not realise that Naeus can get the Fury from it.
It's so niche, who cares? But
built-in Pathfinder's nice on them.
I think if you said to me, you can upgrade your Sisterhood Panther Lancers with Pathfinder and Fury for 15 points, I'd be like, it's a fucking good deal.
Well, that's it, and you'd probably be taking 2 troops of Gur Panthers anyway as you chaff.
Yeah.
So it is a good deal. If you were going to take Panther Lancers, then why not?
It would be a really good fast wing for a heavy cavalry list. So when we were designing cavalry horde based lists, this would be an ideal thing to take with that, because that just amplifies your threat range all over the board. Panther Lancers on the flank, quite nice, especially with Pathfinder.
Budget Dragon denies as well, aren't they, because of the same speed?
Yeah. No, they're already nice units, and I think this is a nice addition to them, as you said.
I just don't think this should have been the formation. You could have just done something else with Panther Lancers. I think
Vicious Aloha?
Had a nice different formation, which wasn't Vicious Aloha, because you're an unimaginative cop-out.
And the formation, actually, I think is probably the second best change for Basileans after the Aloha. I could see myself taking the formation quite happily. It's not a big investment over regular regiments.
You're never going to feel a shot changing that.
I always think that the Panther Lancers are best kept cheap.
You don't need much else than that, do you?
They're not good enough to be worth things like Bro Strength or Sharpness.
No, absolutely not.
Potion of the Caterpillar is probably the only thing I ever bother taking. And now you're saving points on it, and you're getting Fury.
I don't think I would have taken Potion of the Caterpillar on them.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think
at melee 4, I wouldn't have.
No, but 190 now for.
Yeah. Nimble Pathfinder.
Speed 10, 16 attacks. It's slightly more than that usual medium cav.
Yeah.
Range, and they can be elite when they've got a low high in with them. Elite and vicious. They're pretty good.
And the dictator doesn't affect them. So,
yeah, the dictator doesn't affect them.
Anyway.
I'm sure you could do some real nice pincer stuff with them and some Elohai.
Yeah.
That would just go behind the lines, whoop, and they're all there going.
Well, these can take the place of what the Elohai holds used to do, of just blast down and turn. Well, these can blast down and turn now, and the Elohai actually can move at the front.
Yep.
Nice unit.
Yep.
We've also got the Abyss. Who gets the Aura Fury keyword for Sisterhood only for 15 points, which is quite nice.
It is nice. Again, not
Doesn't
needed
work with the
because of the formation, because they gain the Fury from the
works
Aura.
with the Sisterhood Infantry and
the
chariots. And obviously you can mount her on a Panther, and she's pretty good.
She is.
So that's nice. And also she gets Fury herself then.
Yeah.
When she's defense 4 but quite a lot of nerve, it's pretty good. What is
she's 12-14, I think.
12-14, yeah.
Which is
it's not nothing, is it?
Yeah, 12-14 and fairly cheap as is, 90 points.
6 attacks is never unwelcome.
It's good, and she inspires everything now rather than just Sisterhood as well. So, and vicious as well.
Mm-hmm.
You lose wild charge on the man, don't you?
Yeah. It's not speed 10.
Basileans never struggle for inspiring though.
No, until you do what I do, where you have one unit in your army that doesn't inspire, and you always leave that one unit out of inspiring range.
Yes, but that's your own fault.
Well, when everything else in the army inspires.
Yeah, you forget. That's what I mean.
Of course I'm inspired. I'm always inspired.
That's what I always do. I'd have 14 drops, 13 of them would inspire, and I'd leave the one knight regiment out of inspiring range. There is a lot of potential for very, very fast armies now in Basileans.
I think if you can do that Knight Horde build, Basileans would be my number one pick for that.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially with that formation and
the Elohai change.
Elohai with a Knight regiment is a Knight Horde even is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not convinced many of these changes are still better than Ogre Palace Guard Hordes, because I think they're just so
they're the perfect unit.
The absolute sweet spot for what we want.
But there is a lot more option for variety now. So,
Elliot, why do Basileans have the best ogre units in the game and ogres don't?
I wasn't involved. Can't possibly say. Any other thoughts on Basileans?
We've talked, I think, fairly negatively about some of these things, but generally, I think the things that we like, we do like.
There are no secret nerfs going on. Everything is actually positive, and things which were completely unusable have a place down in a Basile N list.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yep. I think everything here is good. It's just not good enough, I think, to tip it over the stuff that was already very good, which actually is a positive place for.
Basilian were always a really solid list. There's a couple of things that people could take and not feel too put out with it. It's ruined their list by having in there. They've had a horde on the shelf for about 2 years, and like, oh right, no, I'll feel this now. I won't feel like a silly dickhead. I spent about 3 days of my life and contemplated suicide over building Sisterhood Infantry Horde, and now I can actually fucking use them.
On that note.
Yeah.